we're living in an age of wars and rumours of wars. We've seen the conflict after the horrendous Hamas massacre, that dreadful terrorist attack that happened on October the 7th, 2023. We've seen Israel constantly at war since then and defeating all their enemies. I mean, Israel has done an amazing job at literally overpowering and overwhelming those people who would destroy Israel and kill every single Jew in the country. And Israel's done an amazing job at defeating its enemies. But as well as that, we've also seen the war in Ukraine grind on, and to me that war's become a meat grinder. And the sooner both those wars come to a conclusion, the better. The one in Ukraine is not, unfortunately for Ukraine, is not going to see a decisive victory for Ukraine. What I think will happen in Ukraine is it will turn into a counterinsurgency. So it'll be under-vehicle booby traps, it'll be booby trap bombs, it'll be close target assassinations. That's what that war will turn into, I think, in Ukraine once that border kind of solidifies, if there is a ceasefire, and we see what's happening. But we don't know whether there's going to be a ceasefire. And of course, the Trump talks are taking place this week, as it today, I'm not sure, but they're meeting in Saudi Arabia, and hopefully that can bring some sort of solution to what's going on there. But at the end of the day, the overall picture of the world is dangerous. We look at what's happening in Syria with that dreadful genocide taking place with the Alawites, the Christians and the Druze. Nobody's lifting a hand. Nobody's complaining. Nobody's marching on the streets of London to demand that we free the Christian parts of Syria. And of course, those Christian parts of Syria have been there since the days of Christ. Remember the Apostle Paul on the road to Damascus? That was in Syria. So the truth of the matter is that those conflicts need sorted out. And then I worry about what's happening in the UK, particularly in England, with the massive demographic change, with the extremism, with two communities rubbing up against each other. And one of those communities being very violent, very vocal, very, very aggressive, and the other community being fairly passive. It worries me. And these wars and rumours of wars, we should take them seriously, and we should pray that God intervenes, because I've said this before, the best thing that can happen in this UK is that every single Muslim gets converted and becomes Christian. Simple as that. That solves the problem. But if that doesn't happen, the government 100% needs to act. The next government that comes into power in the UK will need to raise a home guard to protect the UK from Islamic extremists. I genuinely believe that. I'm not glad to say it, but look at what's happening around the globe and look at how many extremists there are in the UK. And the more extremists you've got, the more potential danger there is to the country. So at least there needs to be a home guard, and there probably needs to be mass deportation of extremists and jihadists, or people that we know are against the country and are on a terror watch list. So I hate war, I hate conflict, I've been involved in conflict. I've seen what happens to a community that's trapped in conflict and how much effort it takes to get that community out of conflict. And again, Northern Ireland was very different to what it would be like in England. Northern Ireland was a very contained, small place. And I think we had about 30,000 when I was serving, 30,000 soldiers and policemen keeping a lid on things. And that was with some of the most sophisticated intelligence gathering and informant networks that had ever been seen in the world. And still, it took 40 years for that conflict to come to an end. If something like that happens in the UK, it'll be absolutely catastrophic, and I hope it doesn't happen. I dread the day that happens, but I think we've got to be prepared that it might happen. And if we get a right-wing government, we could have the jihadists rising up. If we get a left-wing government, there could be civil unrest from the indigenous white English population. That just could happen, and I hope it doesn't. But when you look at the mood music and you look what people are saying, you look what academics are saying, and I spoke to one last week. There was a friend of this guy that put the video out with Louise Perry talking about the chance of civil war in the UK. He said this guy's a serious guy. He's a very, very serious academic. So if people like that are talking about this, we should take it seriously. And the government needs to do something about it. It's not down to the people to get involved in that, but the people will have to if the government doesn't. But it's down to the government to raise some sort of home guard that can defend the United Kingdom from these threats and these wars and rumours of wars. See you all soon.